All right. Marriage the real talk. Gonna check and make sure everything is going right. As we know, sometimes there are delays with technology, and then we're gonna dive right in. All right, we are live and in color. Welcome to Marriage and Real Talk. Your girl Amber, the host of Marriage and Real Talk, is here for you today. And I'm super excited. So excited that we're going to be able to talk to a phenomenal couple today about the reality of blended family and blended focuses. So before we get into that, if this is your first time here at Marriage and Real Talk, I want to introduce myself, tell you what this platform is all about so that you don't miss out on anything. Marriage and Real Talk's goal is to unite us so that we can grow, learn, and share through one another, no matter where we're at in our relationship journey, whether you're single, married, divorced, widowed, separated, doesn't matter. We have something in this group for you. So come on in, get your popcorn, your snacks, something good and healthy, some watermelon. I have watermelon today. Get a special treat, sit back, relax, and enjoy today's conversation, okay? So without any further ado, we're gonna go right into introducing you guys and maybe reintroducing some of you to a phenomenal couple that I have had the privilege to connect with and meet right here in Marriage and Real Talk. ZF and Luanda Taylor are here to share, to expose us to the reality, the real of marriage as a blended family, a blended couple, and also blended focuses. They are in ministry and also have businesses together. They also have online platform that they're going to talk a little bit more about later on. And so we're going to go ahead and invite them on up and go from there. All right, ZF and Luanda. And am I pronouncing that correctly? Luanda, right?
Yes, perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, we are so happy that you guys are here. Thank you again for taking time to create your world. Before we go too far in, I'll give a little background. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, we hope everyone can hear us okay. We see a little technical difficulty on from hearing everything from you, Amber. But I am ZF Taylor. This is my wife.
Luanda Daniels Taylor.
Yes, we've been married for a little bit over 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've dated 2 years prior to that, so we've been together for 6 years. We've known each other for about 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is my, well, no, we're not going to jump right there. I am an actor, singer, dancer, writer, producer, mentor, graphic designer.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. And my wife.
I am a minister. I am a business owner, entrepreneur as well. Wife, stepmother. What else?
Minister, wife, stepmother. She is an author. She is soon to be published. We're working on that project.
Yes.
She's a psalmist. She's also a singer as well.
So is my husband. So we wear a lot of hats. We have a lot. God has gifted us with a lot of talents and aspirations, and we're just working everything that we possibly can to get to. I always say we want to leave here empty. We want to empty ourselves out of everything that God has do.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you guys are very common in regards, or at least we kind of share that same echo. We have that same echo. We want to leave empty.
Mm-hmm.
So what's one of the things I really liked when I learned about you guys is that you are able to wear these different hats and do so. I mean, on the outside looking in, a lot of people might say that looks seamless for them, but we all know there is some real
right
that goes on
right
behind the scenes, okay? And that's exactly why I'm super excited to talk to both of you today, because I also like to do a lot of different things, very multitasking and talented like you all. I mean, y'all two together can have y'all's own enterprise, and I'm sure that's what you're working on. So kudos to Kingdom Enterprises. Yes. And so again, thank you so much for being here today. I have a list of questions, and anybody who ever comes on Marriage and Real Talk, you will always get a list of questions. I'm just like that. We may not get to these questions though. We might go a totally different direction. So just go with me. Right. Go with me. Okay. But I do want to I want to start out by asking you guys, how'd you meet? Give us a little backdrop on that marriage story. How did you meet, and any other details we should know about your initial story before you became a blended family?
Okay, so I'll start this off. Okay, Dave?
All right. She doesn't like the way when I start off, because for years I had my own interpretation, and
Right.
I had to come clean on our show, so I'll let her go.
Right. So we met, we were both in a gospel stage play, musical stage play. And that's the first time that I, saw him. And I actually, as soon as I saw him, he piqued my interest. And I'm like, oh, who is this guy? First of all, I felt like he was like, one of these kids is doing their own things kind of person, because he would come to rehearsal whenever he felt like it. He didn't have to come to every rehearsal. He, what else was
I don't know why she had to include that part.
But it made me wonder, like, okay, who is this guy? And he's kind of handsome. So I was looking at him. He always likes to tell everybody that I was like interested in him first, and I was. And then we have the lady who put on the play. She's, of course, a mutual friend of ours. And I was talking to her one day, and I told her that I had an interest in him. So what was her conversation with you?
Her conversation was, hey, have you ever thought about Luanda? And I'm like, no. She was like, what do you think about Luanda? Nothing.
That is so rude.
I mean, well, now mind you, I had already been married, and now it was at the 5-year point of being divorced, okay, and being a single dad. So I can't say that I stayed away from getting myself in entanglements. Entangled. Hey, if it worked for you, it could work for us too.
Okay, whatever.
But I wasn't really looking for, a full all-in relationship. And I felt like I knew my type. I felt like I knew what type of woman I was looking for, and who I'm attracted to, who I would grow with. And I'm telling you, honestly, at first sight, I did not realize what God had in store for me.
And the reason was because I fashion. My business is LAS Glamour. And so I love beauty. So I wear lashes and lipstick and makeup every day. Different kind of hair, wigs, long, short. They could be down to my knees or short like this. But all of that, always I'm glamour. Like, I love to be glamorized. And he was not, attracted to that type of person, because he felt like that was a person who was wearing a mask, who was trying to cover up who they really were. So this is even interesting of our first initial conversation, because did I say her name? Can I say it?
Yeah, you can say it.
Okay, Jackie, okay, who, our mutual friend from the play. When she came back, and she's very transparent and honest. So she told me that he literally said, it looks like she's wearing a mask. And so I was offended by that. And so I called him up, because we had become friends. This was a while after the play, right? Yeah, because we had become Facebook friends and everything. And then we actually had gotten reconnected for another play, to be another play together and play husband and wife. If you need to wrap me up, just give me a signal, and because I'll
go ahead, just give us a version.
Okay, right. And so he I called him and I said, I need to have a conversation with you. And so I wanted to confront him about saying that I wore a mask.
Yeah, so she came over there, proceeded to tell me off, and she met her match that particular day. Goodness. And no, she did, and she won't admit it to me, because I'll use it to my glory. But in real life, she didn't meet her match, and what happened was that when she told me off, at that moment, I literally fell in love with her. I was like,
"You like that spice? You like that spice, Zia? Is that what you're saying?"
But you know what? It wasn't that. Let me stop lying. I was always attracted to feistiness, so I'm not gonna lie about that. Okay. However, it was the level of transparency and vulnerability that conversation, which we have tokenized as our red chair conversation, that opened up my heart and it allowed me to be myself completely in front of this woman.
Right, because in the red chair conversation is because I literally came in the house. He had this red chair in the corner, and I sat in that red chair to have this conversation with him. So that's why it's called the red chair conversation.
Stop calling it a conversation. She came to tell me off.
And because here's the thing, Amber. It was not. There's a reason behind why I am the way that I am, and I wanted him to understand that there's sometimes deep rooted reasons why people do the things that they do, and you can't just judge them at face value. So let me be transparent and tell you what the reasons are of why I am the way that I am, and that's when I became very transparent with him, and then his eyes were open to like, wow, okay, I was wrong for judging you, and let me be transparent as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cute. And y'all been married for how long?
4 years. 4 years.
Oh, wow. I love it. I love the spiciness from this jump. Okay. She went all the way what was coming. So now we in this blended life. We're going to get to that. But I do want to back up a question not on my list. ZF, you said you were married before, and then it was 5 years before you and her got together. Any drastic difference between the before and now? Not giving any personal information, but just what was the difference between your first marriage and maybe this one? And maybe if there's someone who needs some encouragement in that season of I'm divorced, what
Absolutely.
now?
I work with a lot of brothers and now some females as well in this area. The major difference is that when you have men found your good thing, and if you want to find favor in the Lord, you have to be able to honor that good thing so that God can see that you're a good steward over that good thing. The differences between my first marriage and where I am now in life and with my wife is growth. We have the same growth goals in mind. For whoever is married or dating or thinking about marriage or in the middle of your divorce or already a divorcee, you have to be able to you have to have discernment that the person that you're spending your energy and time on
Can you hear me? I lost you guys. Can you hear me? Testing. Testing.
We're back.
Okay.
We're back.
Go ahead. You said the
Can you hear us?
person spending your time and energy on. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, so you were saying the person you spend your time and energy on, and that's where we lost.
Okay, awesome. You just have to have discernment of who. All right. We're here. We don't want to lose you.
I'm still
Amber,
here.
can you hear us?
Yep. Can you hear me? Oh, technology.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yep, go ahead.
Yes, we can hear you. I think what I'm going to do, okay, awesome. Yeah, just have discernment on whom you're spending your energy and time with, that you all share the same goals. The difference between my first marriage and where I am now is that my ex-wife did not want to grow. She wanted the house, the car, the kids, the family vacation once a year, the family dinners and everything. And we got that. I gave that to us. I provided that for our family, but she wanted to stop. And God has placed too much in me for me to just stop there. And I had to be able to grow. And that's really what caused us to fall apart, because she didn't want to share me with the rest of the world.
Wow. I want to ask questions right there, but I'm not, for this time's sake of time. But that growth piece is powerful because it takes continual growth and desiring to grow personally and collectively, in my opinion, for marriage to really work. So you nailed it. I want to I want to stay right there, but let's keep going. So, why did you guys get married? And maybe Luanda, if you want to start out, why did you get married?
Why did we get married? Okay. Now I'm going to try to log in from a different source because I believe we're at a hotel, and I believe the hotel is their Wi-Fi is not a code with us.
Sure.
So we're coming right back in a different.
How about this? I give us 30 seconds.
But yeah, why did we get married?
Do you need some time? You need like 30 seconds to get it?
Yes.
Okay. We'll be back. All right. Does that help? You guys okay?
Okay.
Or you think it's still updating?
Are we back?
I see it coming in.
Here we go. All right. So
come on, technology. We win.
We are here.
Okay. Sounds good. That better?
Okay, Amber.
All right, we got you.
Okay.
We are back.
Oh, that's much
better.
better.
We're totally all in now.
Okay, perfect. So let's go back to why'd you get married?
That was her choice.
Okay, Luanda, why did you get married, Luanda? Let's throw it over to her since he's making jokes.
Okay, so honestly, and I do want to, if any singles are listening, I do want them to hear this. I was not, and I get, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be married. I was not, though, like pining away and just like, when is my husband coming? When is my husband coming? I was not that type of lady. I enjoyed my singleness. I enjoyed my single journey as a single woman. I was very independent. I had my own everything, my own house, car, really a great job that I was there for 20 years. So when we connected, it was just, it happened very organically. Like it wasn't forced or anything. It just, we were in the stage play together. He piqued my interest, and then we connected, and then everything just kind of, started happening pretty fast with us. And so because I was a woman in my mid-40s, I'm a Christian, and I believe in, not having just frivolous relationships. What is the point of this relationship? What is the purpose? What are we trying to accomplish here? I'm not just dating just to date. At some point in time in my life, I do want to be married. So, is this what this is or not? So we at the jump kind of really made sure we understood what our goals were as dating and what we were going to do in this relationship.
Yeah, and to be honest, I joke about it a lot, but because, believe it or not, that is really our character and how we actually act all the time, whether we're angry with each other or having a great time or whatever. But the reason why I wanted to get married really was to unlock the benefits that God has in store for both of us. I knew that I could not be fully used by God unless I had my helpmate, my helper, my lifesaver, walking this journey with me. And I knew what loneliness felt like. I knew what a failed marriage felt like. I knew that I would never, ever be whole and can be fully used by God unless I allow him to put the picture together that how he wanted it created.
So what do you say to people that might feel like, basically from what you're saying, you didn't fully feel like you could be used without a partner? What about the singles that's like, I don't got no partner, or those who don't want no partner? What's your thoughts on that?
And that's a great question. And that is my story. That is my calling. That is my purpose in Christ. It's
Mhm.
not everyone's story. Um, while everyone can glean something from our lives and our journey, it's just like when you're sitting in church and the preacher is giving a sermon. Not every bullet point that he has on his sermon is directed at you. You have to let God to rightly divide that word. And
Mm.
for my journey, I have to have an institution of marriage and a solid family. For
Mm.
that single person that may not want it, or that's just not their calling or purpose, God is using them fully in what he created. He just let me know this is what I need. There were generational curses. We both had to break off of our families and our lives. There are so many things that we can't minister to couples and singles unless we can know both spectrums of that. Until we said I do and submitted ourselves collectively to God, we're not justified in trying to tell anybody anything.
Right, right. I'm
And
with
I
you.
want to add to that there's phases of your life. There, when I was single, God used me mightily. I was a preacher as a single. I went to school and I got my master's as a single. You know what I'm saying? So there, and I was a singer. As I was in different groups, singing groups, I was in, so God was using me. I still was listening to the voice of God, and where do you want me to go? How do you want me to use? How do you want to use me? And then there were also things, and still are, because we're continually growing in the grace of God every day. The things that God wanted to, kind of purge from me, things, bad habits, bad ideas, bad, you know what I'm saying? Different things that that I attached themselves to me along the way of just living life. And I had to grow into the person that he wanted me to be. And so my phase of singleness was good. So
Mhm.
just hear that, singles. You're not a less of a person because you're single. God can still use you as a single person. He can use you even more. The Bible even talks about that as a single, because you don't have any responsibilities of other things. You can completely and totally, look towards God and what he has called you to do. And now God is using me, phase 2, right? As a wife.
Yes. 2.0.
I'm just phase
Yes.
2. I'm just phase 2.
Come on, babe.
She just said I'm phase 2, y'all.
Phase 2 of my life
You
is
said
now
you level up. You 2.0.
right.
I got you. I
Yeah,
got
thank you, Amber. It's the
I
next
got you.
level. So yeah.
Okay, the next level. Okay.
So the next question is, what expectations did you come into this marriage with? And I want to start with you, Zia, because you were previously married.
My heart just dropped.
So you already had some things you done dealt with and went through and
Talk
experienced.
about
And
it,
then Luanda, right after him, I want you to give me your perspective coming in, straight out the box with, your kids are older too, right? So straight out the box, not with the new babies, but your stepmom and all the expectations that go with that. Give us the real on what that looked like, the expectations.
It's not like I've never received this question, but for some reason today, the question made my heart drop a little bit. The realness of it is this. I wanted a woman that would value me as a man of God. That even in my weakness and my failures, that I'm still valued, that I'm still relevant, that I still am desired, wanted, and needed, and respected. I know what it feels like to be in a marriage that you feel like you're always battling for your position of what God, how God is trying to use you. I know what it feels like to be this man in a relationship where you don't know where the roles are and who's doing what and how are you doing it, and feeling like I'm divided simply because God is using me over here or for this purpose and my family is coming up against it and they're not supporting. I know what it feels like to be in a marriage and feel empty. My biggest expectation, biggest and still an expectation that is on the table today is that do not ever forget that God is using me. I am God fearing, and that I'm worth it. I am worth it. I'm not perfect. I know I had this great character trait, and I say great meaning big, that I wouldn't let anyone prove me wrong. I just had to be right. I had to be right. Had to be right. And that was more about a defensive mechanism. Like I have to protect myself because I know what it feels like when someone's always pointing the finger at you and telling you that you're nothing, that you're not worth it. And believe it or not, my first marriage, I was a 6'4" battered black man.
Woo!
You take it all in. I mean, that's
pause. You in the pause right there. You can't just drop that and then bounce off of it. Okay, say that one more again, and then
I was a 6'4" battered black man, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Woo! Now you about to mess up our whole flow because we're not gonna get through these questions, Z. Okay, I just want you to know.
This is the real talk, right?
Yeah.
This is the real talk, right?
The real talk. So give us, we're going to pivot. And we was on a little bit late due to technical difficulty. So we will go over a little bit.
Okay.
Give us a little bit on what that means. Okay. Unload that a little bit. Unpack that. Help us. Please.
I'm gonna make it very clear because I have encountered a lot of brothers throughout the last 20 years that have shared this same story. We believe we are that shining knight riding in on a white horse, that we can save some of our mates from their selves, from their past and everything, thinking that we are their saving grace, that we can change everything and help everything, mend everything. And when I tell you, when someone is broken and they don't want to be fixed, they're going to do nothing but try to break you.
Wow.
And my ex-wife, her disdain, her disagreements, her disrespect, her areas of issue were more about not being able to make me into the punching bag that she needed to release all her issues. There was a night I had to sleep on the floor to block my bedroom door because I had to throw the knife out the door and make sure that she couldn't get out to get it. There were days that, closet doors are broke, or there's a hole in the wall, or I have a scratch across my face, or I'm bleeding, or something thereof. There were times that I had to hold her while calling 911 and wait till they show up so that we can get this back together. The times that cops have come to the house and said, ma'am, I don't understand, what is the issue? You have presents from wall to wall in here for this Christmas time. What is really going wrong in your household? What it is, when someone is broken and they don't want to deal with their pain, they don't want restoration. They don't want to be revived. They don't want to go through real revival. Hurting people hurt people. They want to put them into their place. And I have seen many brothers here in Columbus, Ohio, and nationwide that are living in relationships like this because we feel like, if I just hold on a little bit longer, I'm strong enough, I can help them get past this. And I say to them, honestly, save yourself. Save yourself, simply because if it has not stopped, it's not going to stop. The same thing that we tell women when they're in an abusive relationship: get away, get away. Same thing for brothers. I know it's embarrassing to be a man. You're saying, yo, my wife is hitting on me and da 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 da. But if you're a real man that doesn't believe in battering her back, hitting her back, harming her back, then you are that brother that needs to get up through and let God bless you the way he wants to bless you.
Wow. The emotional baggage that goes with some of that. How do you process that? And then I'm going to throw it over to you, Luanda. So how do you even get to a place of wholeness of because that's a lot. And then especially for those who are watching who have kids with their previous partner, that that history hasn't really left because you still connect with life, right? That's the real.
Yeah,
So how do you deal with the process of the emotional piece as a man, as a Black man?
Yeah.
And how do you move forward towards even have the mindset that, you know what, I deserve better, I want better, and I'm going to open my heart up again to receive that. Those are, I would imagine, layers. Talk to that piece for a moment.
Really quickly, it comes down to, if I wasn't willing to save myself and live life to save myself, I had to be willing to do it for my sons. I wanted them to grow up big, strong, and smart. That's something I have always said to them. When I used to put them down to sleep, I would sing them a song like, remember, you are big, strong, and smart. It was really for my kids. And I'm going to throw in another little nugget in here. We can come back and do a part 2 later. But those days that one particular day that I literally did try to take my life, it was my kids that came to mind. It was like, yo, you cannot leave them here with this crazy crap. Like, you got to show them that you will survive. So when I met Luanda, what happened is that conversation that we referred to, that red chair conversation, that transparency and vulnerability, let me know, oh, this woman is coming to the table with her scars. This lady is coming to the table letting me know this is what happened to me in the past and why I am the way that I am. Okay, well, let me tell you what I've been through in the past and why I am the way I am. You know what? Your scar don't bother me. Your scar don't bother me either. Right. Oh, for real? So what can we do with this? Oh, you know what? Well, we just got our scars. What can we do? What can we build together? Yes. And I did have to learn. It took us about 2 solid years, that 2 years of us dating and probably another year into marriage, that I was able to stop pointing out her flaws, my wife's flaws, and comparing them to my ex-wife. Right. Yeah. I had to say, I would say things like, I've been through that. That's how my ex used to act. And she's like, no. I'm mad at you because of this. This has nothing to do with what you went through over there. And vice versa, because remember, we both have scars. So whatever she decides to share about her story, she had to do the same for me. Stop coming at me like I'm the broke knuckleheads that you came across. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't come at me with that. And it's so funny because I've always been strong, and I think that's how I made it over, because the world didn't know what was going on behind closed doors. Because when they saw ZF Taylor, yo, that's the dude we call 3 o'clock in the morning to talk us off the ledge. Not even knowing that I'm the dude standing on the ledge next to you. Woo! All right, I'm done.
On the ledge, right with him, like, I'm helping you, homie, but let's both not jump, okay?
Right. We either both getting off or we both jumping. Which one?
I appreciate the transparency because it's so needed. And I want to even jump over to you, Luanda, coming into a marriage, you know, and even having the patience to process. And I think that's a big part of marriage that I think we're all learning is that process. Let me first go back to the main question, then we're going to come back. Okay. What was your expectation coming into this marriage?
Okay. So I don't know if I had, let's see, expectations for you as my husband. I'm a daddy's girl. And so my father, before he passed, he took great care of me. You know, he spoiled me, everything. He said I could do no wrong in his eyes. And I think that, you know, with my husband, I just wanted I wanted to be able to trust him with my heart. Because that's one of the first requests that I made to him. I was like, I need to be able to trust you with my heart. Please be careful with my heart. So, that was like the initial expectation of him. When it came to a blended family, I had always asked God I didn't want any girls because I'm a girl and I was a trip and I took my mother through and I was like, I can't handle that. So I don't want sassy mouth girls. So let me get, and you know, we can get into it, like my husband said, a part 2 about why I didn't want to have or children of my own, but I wanted my husband or the person that I was going to marry to already have sons, and I wanted it to be 2 boys. And so when I met him, and he has 4 altogether, we had 2 younger set of boys. I was like, okay, this is gonna be perfect. But oh my goodness, Jesus, I didn't realize I should have been more specific about my request.
Yes.
Because these kids who are small, how old were they when I met them? Like
they were 6 and 7.
6 and 7. And when they get to teenagers, honey, and then even the reality of
7 and 8 because they were 10 and 11. 10 and 9 when we got married.
Okay. 7 and 8 when I met them. And they loved me. Like I couldn't go anywhere. They were right by my side every time I came over to visit. One was on the left, the other one on the right. And then reality set in of, their mother getting wind of me and that I'm not going anywhere and who is this lady and what is going on here. And a lot of different things started happening. We started having conflicts. Well, she had a conflict with me, which caused them to have a conflict with me. Like, wait, am I supposed to like her? Or
right.
Now I don't like her because you don't like her. And you know what I mean? So it's been a rocky road. And it's so funny. I know my husband was laughing when you asked that question. Because I'm a runner. And when something is not going my way or it's uncomfortable, I'm out the door. So I usually, I'm like, okay, I ain't got this to do. Let's forget about it. This is not working out. But one thing that God kept, and you said it, Amber, or you said it, honey. You said, I want somebody to know that I'm worth it. And that's the thing that kept coming back to me every time that it was a difficult situation and I wanted to run. God kept letting me hear, it's worth it. He's worth it. And so that's the one thing that just kept echoing in my mind. Every time we had a situation, a difficult situation, a situation that made me want to leave, I just kept hearing God say, he's worth it.
That is so good. And when you guys just said that, one thing that just came to my mind was the keyword perseverance.
Yeah.
Perseverance on both sides, you know, and even the patience. Those are 2 P's, patience and perseverance.
Absolutely.
Patience and perseverance. And I will be honest and say that's one of the key elements of any marriage.
Yes.
Whether you got a lot of baggage or little baggage or what you don't think is baggage, and then you get there like, whoa,
right.
Everything's magnifying. Patience and perseverance. And so another question, what do you feel like even now? So let's talk about the blended families. The boys are now what age?
15 and 14, the youngest ones. The older ones are 28 and 26.
Wow. Okay. So between 14 and 28. Okay. That's a nice dynamic. So
10-year gap in between. Yeah.
So for you, Luanda, what has it been like being a mother of, for one, all boys, and for 2, just that journey of patience and perseverance? Like it doesn't really end.
No.
I know me and one of my good friends, Tia, shout out to Tia. She's on
Tia.
We talk about a lot of things, and she's actually a mutual connection for all of us here. We always talk about the idea of graduating, right? We think just like we go through grade school or college or what have you, that we get to an end point with some of the things in our lives. And when you get older, you recognize there are so many things you will never graduate from. And I think it's one of those things that also sometimes can make relationships and marriages specifically very challenging because you just want to get over it. You just want to move on with it. But being patient and persevering and working through challenges and blending together and saying, I'm sorry. Some of these things you will never, ever graduate from. And that's the reality of it. And so for you, Luanda, when it comes to growing with these thriving boys and being with this blended family and all of that, how have you over the years found yourself working through moments of needing patience, or just what patience looks like, and then perseverance? Anything about that?
Okay. So
how real do you want her to be?
I know, right?
Go all the way, okay? All the way.
It's been and it still is a challenge. We are still working through this. So we even talked about this on our last show, and I know you're going to give us the opportunity to share that later on before we go. But we talked about our blended family. Was the first time that we talked about it live, and that we're still working through it. There's certain things that we've figured out along the way, but we still have a lot to figure out. My expectations were completely different. I guess I didn't think about the challenges when I was asking God, like, for the 2 boys, like, this is going to be a happy family, and we're just going to and everybody's going to love each other. And it just hasn't really been that way consistently. So there's been some rough patches, and I just really have had to pray a lot. I do want to give my husband kudos for being who he is, and he has been the one that kind of has kept the family together and been that solid foundation for everybody, because he has had to be in the middle of a lot of situations and try to make sure that everybody is heard and everybody understands each other's perspectives. And one thing he used to always say to me, you know, when it came to even their mom and the boys, that he and I have to remain as a united front. So that's the one thing that has, even, I have to give it to him. He's the one that has kept me grounded and kept me having patience and perseverance in this, by telling me, constantly reminding me that we have to be the ones that, no matter how everybody else acts, no matter how much disrespect, you know, no matter how much, you know, how many challenges we have to remain as the united front, and we have to show them what God's love looks like. That's our responsibility.
That's so good. That's so good. What do you feel like has been the keeper for your marriage and all of these different challenges and changes over the years?
We're friends, and we have really worked on our communication from the beginning, and so we talk all the time.
Even last night.
Yeah. We just left, and we're at a hotel, and we just left and was like, we'll be right back.
No. She was like, can you take a walk with me, please?
Yes. that is
your line? Is that your line, Luanda?
No, that's new. That's new.
That's a new whatever.
I think that's because we're out of town, is why, and we're at a hotel.
She gave you the nice.
Right.
She was like, can we have a talk? But wait, funny thing about that, and it's related. The talk that we were going to have, that she needed to have with me last night, was dealing with that blended family and some of the conflicts and being comfortable, and me kind of standing in the middle, because we're traveling right now with the two youngest sons and ourselves. There's history, there's a past, there's things that have occurred over the last 8 years that still have not had total resolution, right? So I have to be mindful of what position I put her in as stepmom, the kids in, and I have to maintain that consistent and constant position. So I wanted to go hang out with some of my boys last night, because I'm in my home state. I'm getting invites left and right to come hang out with people. And she heard me on the phone. I'm like, oh yeah. So let me just talk to the family. I'll come through later on. And before she even said, let's go take a walk, I had already texted them back, bruh, I'm not gonna be able to come. I can't leave the wifey here with the boys. It's just not a good night for that. And so when she wanted to talk to me about it, and it was a valid point, that and I'm speaking her words, I'm not totally comfortable with being with them by myself all the time or in certain settings, because we still don't have some things resolved. And I said, say less. I've already texted back and said I can't make it. So that is not the same way that it would have gone a couple years ago. It would have turned into a conflict with us. And I'm reminding her, baby, remember, I'm your husband. You love me. I'm your best friend. We're not the enemies here. We're not enemies.
Right. It's good to remind ourselves of that sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's really good to see how far we've come with that communication and be able to manage that, so that everyone is okay. Now, yes, I do have to take some L's and make sacrifices, but that's a choice I made when I said I do. That's a choice I made when I said, let's put together this blended family. I may not like it all the time, but it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't damage me. What? Doesn't mean I can't go hang out a couple times with my friends. Well, I have a best friend of my wife. I have my kids here. And honestly, Z, you need to sit your butt down and take a nap anyways.
Too much, all the time.
So, yeah.
So you just brought up something else I want to ask real quick. Because you guys are very much so individuals, and me and my husband are just the same. We're very individual, but we blend, but we still got our own things.
Yes.
And sometimes that can become a conflict if we're not careful, and if that communication piece is not ironed out. Because yes, I'm married, but my whole world is not right here.
Yeah.
With you guys having these separate businesses, separate ministries, the kids, But then blending these different things, let's kind of shift into that conversation. How do you work through, I don't want to say being individuals, but I guess that's the easiest way to explain it. But yet,
Yeah.
kind of overlapping your ministry focuses. You have the TV show, she has her business. What does that look like? And maybe even give us some of the real of what have you had to do in working through those communication, struggles, the calendar struggles. I know me and my husband are always overlapping. Well, you got this, and hold on, wait,
Yeah.
let's not be doing too much. Like somebody got it down. Give us some of that. I want to hear y'all's piece on.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all laughing because y'all know y'all in the same boat we in over here at the neighboring house, okay?
Absolutely. Listen, it has been trial and error, honestly. Like initially, and I told my husband this because when I met him and I knew he had so much going on and I had so much going on, and I said, when we decided to get married, I said, listen, my one request here is not to let my things get swallowed up in yours. So I don't want to disappear because I got married, And so, yeah.
Okay, say that again. Somebody needs to hear that.
Yes, I asked my husband not to allow my things to get swallowed up in his things because I did not want to disappear just because I got married. And that was like so important to me. I wanted to maintain, who I was as Luanda Daniels, but also be his wife as a Taylor. And he agreed that, okay, I got you. I'm not going to allow that to happen. However, walking that out, and saying it and walking it out was two different things.
Yes.
Because he was busy doing his things. Can we talk about it, Dave?
Talk about it.
And and I was feeling neglected at certain times because a lot of things that he has and God said, God is just amazing. Even when we first started getting together and getting serious, we would say, this is God and this is good. That was one of our sayings that we said all the time. But he has so many components in him that fit like a puzzle into the things that I needed to help my, ministry and everything that I'm doing go forth, and vice versa. Like, but it took us a long time to figure out how to put those pieces together and work together as a team, because it really was, honestly, it was a kind of like a competition at a point. Like, no, I'm doing this, you're doing this. Wait a minute, you doing too much. Why don't you helping me? You can do this for me. I need a graphic. Why can't you do my graphic? Why are you doing you know what I mean? It really, it was communication, like heated communication that got us through a lot of that. Like we did have to have a lot of conversations, a lot of sit down, come to Jesus meetings and what's going on, checking the temperature and the climate of our relationship and our marriage and our businesses. We had to, communication has been completely a high priority for us. Like we've had to talk through from the beginning. We've had to talk through so many things. It was just this past year. Do you think it had anything to do with the pandemic and us like being quarantined together that we
it happened when we went through foreclosure in the beginning of 2019.
Okay.
It forced us to figure out things together.
Mm-hmm.
No longer could we operate in our own identity and individuality underneath the same roof, because now our roof is going away.
Wow.
What are we going to be doing? And whatever we're doing, we need each other to support ourselves through it, because we have a family. Like my boys, they eat a lot.
Yeah,
I love good food. Listen, I couldn't care less if I had food stamps or if I was buying groceries out of pocket. I still like to eat bougie. So I'm still going to eat the same type of foods I like. So there was a point there that she even lost her car. She lost her car. We had to surrender it back to the dealer. You know what I'm saying? So now here we are. We're going through foreclosure. We have one car.
Yeah, we have some financial difficulties.
We have two kids. You know what I'm saying? One going into high school. And we have tons of bills. But we still had companies and businesses. Like, what's happening? And the men, they need to hear this part. I had to come to grips with saying, I'm not supposed to be doing this by myself. That's why God gave me a helpmeet, not
Mm.
to rely on her to do everything, but to help us through this. And it was at that point that our communication game just like went up, because now we're counting the pennies that are coming in. Okay, what do we have money for? What can we do? What can't we do? One of her questions was, well, when am I going to get another car? And it was so funny because it after that we built ourselves back up. We came back to this point of that we're good to go, right? But then we had to go into a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, if we had not gone through that foreclosure and that time that we had to work together and work on our communication, pandemic would have tore us apart.
Yeah, I agree.
It would have tore us apart. But what it did, it brought us together even stronger. And 2020 turned out to be a blessed year for us, a blessed year. Now, don't get me wrong. We shed a lot of tears because a lot of people we lost and a lot of things were happening to those that we care about. But together, the individuality, it came down to an agreement. Yes, God has given us our individual ministries, but we have a ministry together.
Yes.
And that's underneath that covenant. And until we can allow them to work in balance with each other, God's not going to bless any one of those entities. And so the pandemic forced us to look at that and surrender it back to God. Okay, go ahead and fix this up the way you want it, God. So now I am still team too much. Okay. However, it does come with conversations with my wife before. I'll say 95% of the time.
95, you're doing good.
95% of the time, I talk to her before something happens. I'm still a work in progress, y'all.
We all are.
But yeah, so
that whole everything that he just said, it came it birthed Taylor Branding Co. So now that is everything that we both do together, and we support each other. If it's my project, then he's all on board. If it's his project, he's all on board. And everything that we're doing together, we're working to even equally on it. So somehow through all of these years of us trying to figure it out, God brought it to a head with our company now that we run together, and it's going smoothly. I love it. Don't you, babe?
Listen, y'all, she giving me extra kisses and stuff. She was like, babe, you killing it. You killing it. But it really is because we worked on the communication. We worked on vulnerability. We worked on reality of where our shortcomings are. And then lastly, and most importantly, we gave everything that we had individually and collectively back to God. And say, what do you want us to do with this? So a company that I had for 24 years, which has been branded, I stepped down as CEO and creative director, and we created Taylor Branding Co. And I couldn't be happier.
I love it. And one thing that I can say I'm hearing is just you're kind of going with the flow of life. You're shifting, you know what I mean? And that's so important for our relationships, to just kind of just let go with the stream of life, because it's just going to keep changing, even changing from your job into now, okay, let's create our own. And so I love it. Let's even talk a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about your business, our businesses, and how do you guys work together within that?
Before we go there, because I know we don't have much time, can I jump back real quick to the blended family area?
Yes, sure.
Because you let the wife speak on it.
Okay, all right.
I need some fairness here.
Floor is yours. Go for it.
All right. The big thing about blended families is that you have to recognize that blended families are going to be difficult no matter which way you look at it. It's never, ever going to be squeaky clean, smooth, and with no type of conflict, because blended families in itself means that you took separate entities and put them together that were not common to each other. And anytime you put two different ingredients together that are not common to each other, they either mix very well or they don't. Oil and vinegar. You do this as much as you want to stir it, and it looks like it's coming together. As soon as you stop stirring it, they separate. A blended family is like that. It is continuous work. It is continuous work because as each person is growing individually, collectively, the family dynamics are changing. Habits are changing. The yeses and the nos are different. The resources are different. You're putting all these ingredients in there. So as you're putting more and more ingredients into a blended family,
Yeah.
Don't forget to keep stirring. Stir, stir,
Yes.
stir,
I love
stir. Because as long as you stir, then it gets closer that the consistency of
Come
each
on.
ingredient starts to break down where they can start to accept the other component that's inside of that blended family.
Wow. Now, you know, I got a question off of that. We didn't get to none of our questions really quick. That's all right. They gonna be back. We're gonna have to just have y'all on back.
Yes.
Well, do it, do it, do it. Okay.
When you talk about that stir, and I love analogies because I'm a visual. You talk about that together. What do you, as the man, do to encourage that and equip these moving parts that you've really brought together? Your kids you brought in, your wife, your new wife you brought in. What do you do as a man?
I am because I'm sitting as the pillar in the middle of this blended family, right? So you can kind of say that I am the spoon because I'm the one that's keeping all the components going together. However, as I'm doing that, I have to help other people recognize what type of ingredient or component they are in this blended family. My wife spoke to it really briefly a moment ago, saying that because she has already been called and she's already gone through the steps to become a licensed minister, that she can preach, she can marry somebody, you know, she can eulogize someone, she can do all those things, then you are obligated to maintain that character. So your component inside this blended family, you have to maintain that type of call. My sons, I have to remind them, you are first and foremost the son of a mother, a father, and now God has blessed you with another mother figure. It is up to you if you respect that. Now, you can be stirred in here and miss out because you won't want to blend in there. Now you're missing out on a total blessing. So I have also let them know you are accountable to how you accept or reject this other component in our blended family. It either can make you into a brand new creation that's even bigger and better, or you can miss out on it and just continue on with what you have because you're not going to lose that. However, if you look back at it and realize what you missed and becoming and having, you're going to kick yourself in the butt later on. So my job in this family is to remind everybody what role they have to play. Now, I cannot control my ex-wife. I cannot control my older sons because they're good and grown, right? They live by themselves. And so I let everyone stay in their corners. But once you want to come back in the presence of this blended family, understand, I'm stirring the pot and you got to work together. You got to work together. And if you don't want to be
in the ingredient
in that mixture, if you don't want to be in that mix, then go ahead and stay in your corner. But as for me and my house, we ain't going through that mess. We're not going through it.
Wow. What I love when just listening to you, what I sense is leadership. The man is leading. And I think it's so powerful. I think sometimes we expect men to just do that, but not everyone does, you know what I mean? When I hear that from you, it's like, I am the spoon. If you coming over here into this, we're going to do it a certain way.
We're going to do it a certain way. And we did. We've had birthday parties and family dinners together. I have pictures of Father's Day that everybody, ex-wife, wife, kids, older, younger, everyone's together. It can happen. But when people start looking at themselves as this individual ingredient that can stand alone by itself, then you're not going to be put in this mixture.
Wow, that's good. And I think that could also hold true for people who don't have a blended family, but just the family dynamic with so many moving parts and opinions and personalities and all that. Have to be able to get one. We are one collective, and I love that analogy. I'm going to ask a few other questions, and then we'll have to schedule part 2. Okay.
Okay.
How do you guys safeguard your marriage? You know, not even against people per se, but just, you know, the enemy comes to just throw in stupid stuff and just various things happen throughout the journey of marriage. And whatever perspective you want to share, the question is, how do you safeguard your marriage?
My husband's pointing at me because I am very much of a hawk. I'm protective of my husband and our marriage, and I'm very observant. I'm not a super quiet person, like just when you get to know me, but initially I am, because I'm watching everything. And I'm watching how you're
in.
interacting and what you're saying and what you're doing. And then my discernment, God has blessed me with discernment, and I'm listening to God and the Holy Spirit. And oftentimes my husband is just this free spirit, and he loves everybody. Come on, everybody, everybody, everybody gets to come over, everybody gets a seat at the table. And I'm like, pump your brakes, not them, and not her, and not him. You know what I mean? Because I can tell right off. I promise you, Amber, I can tell when people don't have good motives, and when they are coming to cause problems in our marriage or in anything that we're doing. And when it's somebody the enemy has sent to destroy and disrupt what God is doing, I can sense it. And then I had to tell my husband, and it's been everything that we've gone through. It wasn't like this that we learned it. It was, we had to go through steps, and we had to grow to get there. But now it's really like a well-oiled machine now, because he'll bring people to me. If somebody comes to him and they want to be involved in what we're doing, or they want to, attach themselves to him, or themselves to him or us, he will bring them over, and he'll bring them in front of me, and he won't say anything. He just knows that when they leave, I will tell him, no, not they can't be. It's not their season.
So now some people know that the reason why you didn't get that official invite is because you didn't mix well with the dynamics of this here marriage. And it's true. I have the same discernment, but I just have a bigger heart in terms of, I believe I can help people and usher them into that change that they can come in and be well. She's like,
everything, because that's not always your burden. A lot of times, and I say this all the time, people will put more burden on us than God even does. And so it's not always our responsibility to fix everybody, because they might be coming in. You can't fix anybody, first of all, who doesn't want to be fixed. You know what I'm saying? You can't fix anybody who doesn't see that they have a problem either. So they have to, the first the sign of healing or is admitting that you have a problem, right? And everybody's not there. So he always wants to, he's a give second, third, and fourth, fifth chances, and let's try to help them. But I don't want to be able to try to help somebody to our own detriment and have them come in and try to destroy what God is doing with us. So yeah, I'm very, very much protective of my husband, my marriage, and my family.
I love it. I love it. Let's segue into this last two questions. I think I'm gonna do the last two. Let me see. Let's do advice. Let's just do a little bit of advice to anyone who's currently in a blended family and their experience is not like you guys, especially in the pandemic, right? The pandemic has definitely changed some things up for a lot of people, you know. So maybe you speak to those who are either just married or in a blended family that are struggling in this season. Any advice for them?
Yes. The saying goes, when people show you who they are, believe them. The pandemic had this unique ability to reveal the truth about everyone and everything, from the president to the politicians to your teachers to your principals to your landlord to your spouse to your kids to your neighbor. A unique opportunity to reveal the truth about everything. And it is your responsibility to make sure you pay attention to that. Make the necessary changes that you might need to make to put it together the right way, to maybe shape it into a better way. But listen, not everything that started off together was meant to be there. Again, remember that. You can constantly try to put a square block into a circle hole, but until you shave off those corners, you're not going to be able to get that block in there at all. And then when you do get it in there, it's not going to be a block. So therefore, my advice to people is this: when you're in blended families, if you find that there are areas of difficulty and conflict and they're repeating themselves, then that means you have been called to step back, look at it, and see What do I need to do to maintain a level of peace? I didn't say put a mask on it. I didn't say put a Band-Aid on it. A level of peace that you have the right to mandate. Make those changes.
Mm-hmm.
Some people chose the wrong spouse to begin with. So, I mean, we can't do nothing with that unless you actually allow God to go ahead and work that out for you. However, if you do choose to stay there, I have seen God bless some people in a mess. It's just a longer route around, you know, the children of Israel. You took 40 years, all right?
Yeah, I hate that saying God does not bless mess. Yes, he does, because we all are a mess.
We're all But for those that are dealing with any form of a blended family or different dynamics, be real with yourself and really look at those areas that you can control, those areas you cannot. And I can tell you, on my desk, for every job I've had for the past 8 years, I've had this plaque up of the Serenity Prayer. That prayer is real, y'all. Just read it a couple times a day. It's a great reminder. There are some things you can't change. There are some things you just have to accept. And there are many, many, many things that God gives you the ability to change. So what are you going to do with that? This family over here, we're not perfect. We still have our issues and conflict, but I can tell you we can still travel out of state together. I might not be able to go hang out with my boys and leave them all together just on that particular night, but that's not the same story every single day because we're constantly working towards a solution. We ain't gonna sit back and just let our peace be disturbed. We're gonna work at it. So that's my advice to blended families. Look at it in a realistic way, believe what you keep seeing, and make those decisions to put it together the right way.
I love it. That's so good. I love it. And I'm going to actually have us end on this last question that came from Jimmy Smith. Thank you, Jimmy, for participating. He said, how do we as men that have that story, we share this, hold on, maybe, how do we as men, can you see? Okay. Stop the cycle of finding the wrong one because we keep our cape on saving a woman. We look for a wife and our value to be received, but we end up without reciprocity, whatever that word is. Let you know your wife was different. I think that was a question from earlier in the conversation.
Oh, that's great. That's great. If you want to answer, I can answer that a little bit.
Yes, please.
Okay, reciprocity. It's that give and take, that whatever you give out, that someone is giving it back to you. Brother, it really comes down to this. Women do not need to be saved by us. They need to be saved by their creator. They need to be saved by their own works and their own efforts, whether it's a therapist or a counselor or medication or just literally, it could be going to a spa day once a week. What we need to realize as men, our job is not to save women. Our job is to protect, provide, right, and support. We are given the honor to lead, to guide, to hold authority over in any area. We to cover. We earn that right. But if your initial point is saying, yo, she's a good woman, I love her, and she look good, she smell good, and when she kissed my neck, I feel good too. Listen, I get all that. But our job is not to save them from themselves because we weren't the one that put them in that situation. We aren't the ones that created those scars. We are not the ones that have the remedy to fix what has already occurred. So therefore, if you are strong enough and you want to stand up as a true man, you say, baby, I see there's some issues. I want to help you through this. But what steps are you willing to take to help yourself?
Yes.
Because my wife, her scars, her issues, her past, there have been many days I have told her, listen, woman, you're going to catch the East Coast side of me. I'm not the one. And she's told me the same thing from her. I'm Mount Vernon. You must have been dealing with some other type of chick, but I'm not that chick. And that realism lets us know you need to put some work in. Because I'm not the one to be your punching bag. I'm not one to give you the Band-Aids. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, baby, I'm so sorry you went through that. And whatever you need from me. Oh, I understand that's why you cussed me out. No. Do your work. So, brother, if you're in that position, you don't feel like you're getting that reciprocity, then that means it's the same thing as the government and slavery. You ain't going to get it.
You talked about that work. We can't end without you talking about that work because I think it's so important. You know, you want me to shut it down, but you can't drop a bomb and then we just close out. Okay, we're not doing that.
Listen, you were going to ask to interview us. You told us to be real.
And that's what we want. So we're going to keep going for just one more moment, one more again.
Okay.
That work piece. Let's talk real quick about that because we started talking about growth at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And no one has to continue. And be working hard. So we talk about
You're break. Amber, can you hear us okay? Because you're freezing up a little bit.
Oh.
Okay, say it again because we got you clear now.
Okay, I was saying you talk about the work piece. What happens when somebody doesn't want to work? What happens when a partner, you know, you're growing, you're going to the therapist, you're praying, you're fasting, you're looking inner to work on all these different things that you see about yourself, but then your partner maybe doesn't want to grow. What in that situation? And or just what have you learned in the growth process?
I don't know what this interview has done to me today, and maybe it may just be because my grandmother just passed away, and I'm totally open and in a place and vulnerable. But I would tell you this: for those that are Christians versus those that don't practice that faith, you can believe in your tree in the front yard as long as it tells you don't sleep with my wife, don't steal my stuff, and don't kill people. I couldn't care less. I'd rather you be a Christian, you know. But we won't get into that. If you want to create a marriage or a relationship that is nothing but a representation of dry bones, then continue doing that. Growth and work is essential if you want to achieve or acquire. I am constantly reminding my sons, you think that every resource I have, I'm just going to hand to you because you asked for it? I don't care if I have $100,000 in this wallet. I worked for that. What work are you willing to put out to get it? Now, if I'm nice enough to give you money for doing chores, which are actually your responsibility to take care of a place that you live and enjoy, then that's my prerogative, but I'm not obligated to pay you for that. But everything that you're going to want in life takes work. Same thing in a relationship, in a marriage. If you're with anyone that does not want to put in the work, then you're going to be constantly talking to dry bones and you're going to find yourself dying. I looked in the mirror one day and I looked at myself and I could clearly see that I was dying. I was dying because everything about me that God had placed in me, every dream and goal and aspiration, every talent and gift, I started not to use. Because I was using all my energy to try to speak to these dry bones that ain't trying to get up.
Woo!
They're not trying to come alive.
Wow.
So what I did, I literally started to speak to my dry bones, myself, individual. And that's how I picked myself up out of it. Now, don't get me wrong. She came to me and said, hey, I'll be gone by the end of the month. Me and the kids will be gone. And my initial statement was, you can go, but my kids stay. See, my focus was no longer on trying to save her. My focus was to be a father to my sons. So therefore, those dry bones that were in my life, they had purpose again. I hope that helps somebody.
Yeah, that was good. What about for the people who say, well, why wouldn't you try to help speak life into her dry bones? Why are you just now over here just focusing on yourself? What makes you able to be like that? You know, what would you say to that?
How can you help somebody if you don't help yourself? Real talk. We our grandparents and older generations, they passed down these sayings for so many years that have become cliches to us now. However, there was a lot of truth in it. And how do you think they made it through those times? Because honestly, if I grew up in slavery time or civil rights time and all these, listen, God knew when to place me. Because I would be somebody in the history book that they couldn't avoid but to talk about, because I done wrecked shop left and right or ended up dead, right? Those sayings hold some truth to them. Y'all, I mean, you can't help other people unless you are helping yourself. And as much as I love my family, and yes, I still love my ex-wife for an individual for who she is. I'm not in love with her. I don't even want to be with her. You know what I'm saying? However, but because you silly, but because,
I knew you was gonna say something. I was waiting on it.
but because of the position that I know I have to stay in, that me and my wife have to be in, that love was able to surface again. That I don't want to see any harm coming to you. But it doesn't mean I'm going to show up at your beck and call because I see you over there hurting yourself. You're doing that over and over again.
Yeah.
Every
so more
time,
of the story, it comes a time that people got to grow up for themselves.
Yes, and you have to be accountable for your own issues. You have to want to be better. A lot of times you hear people say that, you know, I'm coming, when you get married, that two halves are coming together. He completes me and all that kind of thing. That is the movies and lies and fairy tales. Okay. The real deal is you want to be your whole self. When you come into a marriage, you want to be a healed self when you come into a marriage as much as possible, because again, you will, in your marriage, you will run into things that you might have thought, oh, wait, I thought I was healed from that, but you didn't have to face it prior to marriage. And then you can kind of work together on that. But still, your self-awareness is so key as you're growing. You have to be aware of the things that has caused you to have bad habits or caused you to think a certain way, your mindset, how you digest information and other people's personalities, just so many things. But self-awareness is so key, and work on yourselves as a single person. Do not wait for somebody to come and rescue you. Don't wait for somebody to have this cape and come and, save the day. Work on yourself as a single, and just be the best version of yourself that you can be, so that when you do come together with someone, you're coming, and then also have those expectations for the person that you're coming together with. I don't want a broken you. I want to hold you. So please work on yourself, then come together as two wholes that will allow each other to continue to grow and move in the things that God has called you to do. Because when you waste time, I feel like that's time wasted, as if you're together and trying to, help each other heal. Be healed already. Be healed when you come in.
Wait, but if you have already said that I do, and you're already together, and you realize and recognize that there's healing that needs to take place, I do give the advice: seek out individual counseling and couples counseling.
Absolutely.
Have that going on simultaneously. Both of y'all go to your own counselors, and then you also have a counselor that you come to together. That's how you put in the work. Absolutely. That's how you put in the work.
I was just going to ask you, how do you do it? You just wrapped it up with a bow. Work with yourself, work with each other, work separate from each other, so that you are collectively coming to the end goal of really healing and restoring your relationships. So that's so good. Absolutely. I so appreciate you guys. We do want to close out with letting you share with the people about your TV show. They have their own TV show focused on what? Marriage. So I'm going to give you guys a snippet to tell the people about that, and then we'll wrap up to give you your time back this rest of this day.
All right. Well, my wife and I, as we stated earlier, we have created a brand new brand, a collective brand called Taylor Brand & Co. Out of that, we have created a talk show. We used to do these snippets and videos of our journey of dating,
our relationship.
But then we realized we've gotten to the point that we can actually create something that we can do systematically every week. Tailor-made for you, found on Roku, Amazon Prime Fire Stick, as well as YouTube and Facebook Live. They happen every Saturday at 8 p.m. This week's episode will be a rerun, only because my grandmother passed away, and we did tape a new show, but they were like, bro, you're not about to edit that. It is about love, life, and all that's in between.
Yes.
My wife would tell you that some of the topic matters, how you can reach us. We are on Facebook, Instagram.
Yes, and the network that we're on is Imagine Me TV, and we have talked about our red chair conversation that we briefly discussed here tonight. We talked about Truth Saturday, which is one of our ways we learned to communicate initially, to have a safe place where we can trust each other and not to get upset. Nobody's walking out, but we can be transparent and vulnerable. If you want to catch that episode, it's literally called Truth Saturday. So we have did you talk about our YouTube channel?
The YouTube channel, it's Taylor Domain, but you can look up hashtag Taylor Made for You, the number 4, the letter U. Taylor Brand & Co. is the umbrella, so if you look that up, you'll find everything else. But listen, y'all, we just want y'all to tap in, subscribe, be part of it.
Yes.
We share them out there, and sometimes we go actually do our shows live, so you can talk to us there. And the most important part, this is for y'all. We have a segment called Why You Mad? You're able to call a number, leave a voicemail, and tell us why you're mad, to get it off your chest, because we've all been through so much in these past few years. If that fact alone, we've created Why You Mad. And if we're live, you can actually call that number while we're live, and we'll actually put you on air with us. But we do play those messages on air. But Taylor Made for You.
Yeah, and we also feature local artists in our community, entrepreneurs or talents, people up and coming and things like that. We wanted to make sure we highlight them every week too. So we have fun. We talk about our relationships, and then we highlight somebody in the community. We let you tell us why you're mad. We laugh. We're silly. We have fun.
Listen, I get in trouble a whole lot.
He gets in trouble.
I believe that. I believe that.
You know what, Amber? You're supposed to be on my side, sis. We did have Tia Ramey on with her brand new book, Canceled and Everything. We're looking to have her come back with her husband. So we're going to have a couples conversation.
Absolutely.
But you all, I want to say this. Taylor Made for You is not only about married couples. It's about us becoming the best us that we can become.
Yeah.
And that's individually, collectively.
Yeah. And we're just sharing our journey with everybody, the things that we've learned along the way and are still learning.
I love it. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. I have gotten to watch a couple of the episodes. They are comical. So if you look for a good laugh, I know for me, I'm not a TV person, but when I want to watch something, I will go to YouTube generally to find something funny, something engaging. So definitely check out Taylor Made for You. You guys are doing a wonderful job. I love y'all's heart. I love y'all's transparency. Then you can just, blend a little comedy in there too.
Yeah.
A well-rounded, experience for the viewers. So thank you guys so much for what you're doing. And again, thank you guys for just even being a part of Marriage to Real Talk today. It's been a phenomenal hour and some change. Use the technical difficulties, but it's all good. We got so much. I got so much out of today. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself too.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. It's been great.
My pleasure, and we'll have you back again in the near future. But without further ado, I just want to close out today by saying, Marriage to Real Talk, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation today. Blended family, blended focus. You should have at least 2 to 3 nuggets to chew on for this weekend and into the week. Until next time, we thank you for being here. Thank you for participating, and we will see you again on a new up and coming Real Talk soon. Have a good night.